60 Palestinian women in the occupied West Bank are on hunger strike, demanding Israel return the body of Awdah Hathaleen. The Palestinian activist who worked on the Oscar-winning film No Other Land was shot dead by an Israeli settler last week. The settler has been released after a brief period under house arrest, while 8 Palestinians from Hathaleen's village remain in detention. Nida Ibrahim reports.
This mother is holding on to her son's clothes. She says his smell is all she's been left with. No body to bury or kiss goodbye. Awdah Hathaleen's 31-year-old son Awdah was shot and killed on Tuesday by an Israeli settler named Levi, who attacked their village in the southern occupied West Bank. Levi, who was already under sanction by the EU, shot indiscriminately. One bullet hit Awdah. He was transferred to an Israeli hospital where he was declared dead. The Israelis are now holding Awdah's body, and his killer has been set free after a brief house arrest, triggering anger and grief among his family and supporters. 60 women from his village are now on hunger strike. Their demand? For the body to be released without conditions. They also want Israeli forces to release all the men they arrested from Awdah's mourning house.
أنا مضربة هذا يوم يسلموني إياه وأشوفه أشم ريحته وأخوه اللي زي روحه كمان يشوفه.
But Israeli forces say they'll release the body only under strict rules for his funeral. It cannot happen during the day or have more than 15 people attending, and it must take place outside the village. For the family, this is adding insult to injury. Awdah leaves behind 3 little boys. The eldest is 5. Their mother, Hanadi, says they're all too young to understand. Their father won't put them to bed anymore.
لحظة استشهاد محمد كان عنده لما تصاوب أبوه كان يقول يا رب يا رب، يعني محمد عمره 2.5. امبارح كانت الليلة صعبة كثير كثير على محمد. كل الليل كان بيصرخ، أول مرة أشوفه عنيف لهي الدرجة. من كثر ما كان يصرخ كل الليل بدي أبوي بدي أبوي.
For decades, Israeli forces have withheld Palestinian bodies as a bargaining chip for negotiations. This aims to prevent collective mourning or honor Palestinians who have been killed by Israelis as heroes. But Awdah is still held in high regard in the eyes of many.
We only have our houses. And even if you are in your house, you are not, safe. We are living here next to
an eloquent speaker who dedicated his life to exposing how Israel forcibly evicts Palestinians from his village and replaces them with Israeli settlers.
And what happened?
His family says they will honor his legacy, and that starts with a proper burial.
Goodbye.
Nida Ibrahim, Al Jazeera.
Dozens of Israeli and international activists have marched through West Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, calling for the release of Awdah Hathaleen's body. They also demanded freedom for village residents detained in recent Israeli military operations. 4 people were arrested during the march. Well, for more on all of this, we're joined now by Fathi, who is a Palestine policy fellow at the think tank Al-Shabaka. He joins us from Ramallah. Thanks very much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. First of all, what message does it send that Israel is refusing to release the body of Awdah Hathaleen while the settler who killed him is already out?
Unfortunately, this is far from exceptional for these areas in the West Bank, especially on the periphery where there's a lot of resources and a sparse population, such as the Jordan Valley or the South Hebron Hills. Palestinians have been arrested for simply defending their homes from settlers trying to firebomb them. The settlers go free, and obviously always the excuse is that there's no evidence, which is also what the Israeli court said in this situation as well. But meanwhile, the Palestinians who are trying to defend themselves are still in jail. And the thing about this specific incident is that we have it on tape. There's a video evidence of the shots being fired wildly and one hitting Awdah.
Yeah, we
So
saw
this
that.
is one of the reasons why this case in particular has gotten more attention.
Yeah, we
but
saw
this
that
is
in
the
the
law
story.
of the jungle, basically, the law of the settlers.
Yeah, can you just explain why Israeli forces withhold Palestinian bodies, as we saw in that story, as a bargaining chip for negotiations, and what effect does that actually have?
It's a devastating effect. This is the denial of any form of closure for the family of the Palestinians. And this is not an isolated incident. There's a graveyard of numbers of Palestinians, hundreds of Palestinians who are numbered and put in graveyards so that their bodies can be used as bargaining chips to tell their parents and their family to stop any kind of activism or resistance or to break the spirits of the village. And it's very devastating to the family and to the community as a whole, who, as your report said, treat these martyrs as heroes. And in this case, Awdah was very loved and very popular among the village. So this is a tactic to break the spirits of the village and to kind of break the cycle of resistance that Awdah was inspiring.
Like you say, he was much loved, and also his profile has seen marches in Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, and the story has gone around the world, helped by the actual images of him being shot. Having evidence on camera makes a huge difference in this. What legacy will he leave, and what change could his death possibly bring about, do you think?
I'm sorry, there was interference. Could you repeat the question?
Yeah, just wondering what effect his death could have, what impact could his death have, and what change, if any, may come from him dying?
Well, unfortunately, there were many cases like this before. We can always hope that this brings along change. And I mean, in the case of the settler, he was already sanctioned by the EU and by the US for a while before it was rescinded by Trump. But without any actual pressure or sanctions on the system that enables this kind of lawless behavior and this kind of murder, then there's not going to be any real change. There needs to be an actual international pressure on the system that has the infrastructure to support these settlers. They don't sprout out of nowhere. They are supported by the state. They have electricity, they have power, they have army support, and it's not just individuals. So sanctions on individuals are not going to be a solution, and neither are, unfortunately, vigils and marches. There needs to be real international action to sanction Israel and to stop any of this kind of behavior.
Yeah, is there a sense that settlers are at the moment able to operate with impunity, that there are no repercussions for them? It looks like we might have lost that link with Fathi. Nimer, Fathi, can you hear me first of all? Are you still there?
Yes, sorry, I can hear you.
Oh, fantastic. Just one final question. Does it feel like there's a sense that settlers are able to operate with impunity right now, that there are no real repercussions for them at this point?
100%. This has even escalated after October 7th. Before October 7th, it was terrible, but now there is an acceleration of all of these efforts, and a settler could just come and take for example, in Jiftlik, you could come over and take your cattle and say, this is what's happening now, and if you reject that, then they'll come with the army and take the rest. It's absolutely no kind of safety for Palestinians, and the army and the police only exist to protect the settlers and nothing else.
OK, we'll leave it there, but we really do appreciate your time and speaking with us today. Fathi Nimer for us in Ramallah.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.